All right, Algebra 1, we are moving on. We are on lesson 5.8. We are factoring with ax squared plus bx plus c, where c is negative. Our essential question today is, can you factor quadratic trinomials whose quadratic coefficient is 1 and constant term is negative? So let's talk about what that means. That means that this a right here is a number 1, and this constant number is going to be a negative number. So notice when I have a minus right here, they're talking about the difference of two numbers. So the numbers have to have opposite signs, two numbers that multiply to be 20, but because of the opposite sides, they actually subtract to be negative 1. So I need one positive and one negative number. In this case, I know a positive 4 and a negative 5 multiply to give me that negative 20 and add to give me that negative 1. So my answer here will be x plus 4, x minus 5. It's very similar to what we did in 5.7, but remember they had to add to be the middle number. And they still are adding, but remember this time, now we're talking about two numbers that multiply. Let's talk about this one. Two numbers that multiply to be negative 30 and add to be negative 1. Well, let's talk about all the factors of 30. There's a lot of them. 1 and 30. Okay, and I just say, hey, there's a subtraction, so I know these have to subtract. Well, those subtract to be 29. 2 and 15, that would be 13. 3 and 10, that would be 7. 4 doesn't go into it. Ooh, 5 and 6. If I subtract those, that will equal 1. Since this is a negative 1, I know the 6 has to be the negative, and the 5 has to be the positive. That almost looked like a... So my answer is going to be x plus 5 and x minus 6. Moving on. The factors of 35 that have a difference to give me a negative 2. Well, 35 doesn't have as many factors. 1 and 35, 2, 3, 4, hey, 5 and 7. Those will subtract to give me 2, where I know the 7 has to be negative and the 5 has to be positive. So w plus 5 times w minus 7. And I just want to remind you that you could FOIL first terms, w squared. Outers and inners will give me that negative 2w, and last terms would give me that negative 35. So my answer is going to be w plus 5 times w minus 7. All right, example 3. A lot of times people see this b squared at the end and it throws them off so badly. So let's not get thrown off here. Let's just welcome this b squared and say, hey, we could do this. All right? So remember that we have to have an a in the front, and because the b is in the back, guess where I'm going to put it? In the back. Not a problema. And I know I'm looking for numbers that multiply to be negative 18 and add to be a positive 3. Well, let's go over the factors of 18. 1 and 18, those would subtract to be 17. 2 and 9, those would subtract to be 7. 3 and 6, yes, those would subtract, where I would need a negative 3 and a positive 6. So again, that b squared in the back, we're not going to let that throw us off. When I FOIL this, first terms is a squared. The outers is 6ab and the inner is negative 3ab. 6ab minus 3ab is 3ab. And the last terms are a negative 18b squared. All right, one last one. I love these because sometimes we forget that 33, even though it's a prime number, we forget that it still can subtract. There's still factors, but in this case, it's only 1 in 33. So which one in this case has to be negative? What do you think? Good. The 33 has to be negative, and the 1 has to be positive. So like everything we've done, we're going to put it in binomials. And we get p plus 1 times p minus 33. Great job today, Algebra 1.